Good day, crafty chums. It's Nikki here, aka Carson Cat, aka Carson Cat's Life. And as always, I've just got to wait till I come up on my channel so that I can see live chat. So that's what I'm doing here now, just waiting till I can see that I've gone live. Oh, here I am. Awesome. Cool. So we are live. Hi Aristi, hi Sandy. Were you waiting for me? Yes, I'm good. Just taking the granddaughter to kindy, which is awesome. So what I'm going to do today is make two get well. Well, I'm going to show you two different types of get well soon cards, and then I'm going to I'll show you how to make them first. Then I'll show you a couple of little different twists on them as well. So not only do you get the two types of card, you will also get some ideas on how you can change them up and things. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. And so I've got my papers here, and this paper here is from My Mind's Eye, Miss Caroline, and this paper here is some that Elaine sent me, and this is what I've got left here, so I might as well just use that up, because it's good to try and use up the scraps of your cards and things, your design paper. So I'll just pop these to one side. And the stamps that I'm using here are Hero Arts one Get Well Soon, and I have another one that's from here, Sending Well Wishes, and I've also got another Get Well Soon, and they're My Favorite Thing ones. So I've got those stamps there, and I've cut the one up here, Sending Well Wishes. It was in one strip, but I've actually cut it up to fit in to this circle here, which you can do. I mean, you know, I cut up my stamps all the time, so you can do it. Hi Bella. And also I'm going to use a couple of dies as well, just some circle dies, which you don't have to use. You can use squares, you can cut squares if you want, but I'm going to use circles, and you can fancy them up if you want, but I'm not going to. Oh, is Bella Sharon, is it? See, look, I don't know anyone, do I? That's so funny. I'm just going to have a slurp of a cup of tea. Tea. Normally I have coffee to get me going before a live stream, but hey ho. Okay. So I'm going to work on the card. Just cut the card bases first. This is going to be a start to finish card, so I might as well start at the beginning. And Sharon, yeah, I won't remember, but I'll try. So yeah, so cardstock in different places is different sizes. So what I normally do is just cut it in half and then score it in half, which is the easiest thing to do. And do I have a printer? Is that me? Do I have a printer? Are you talking to me, Aristi? I have a printer, yeah. So yeah, so the easiest thing is to, because different places have different sizes, is to cut it in half and then score it in half, which is a simple thing. But the paper I'm using is a weird size. It's not quite a centimetre size, and it's because centimetres, it's 29.2 centimetres, and in inches size it's not quite 11 3/4. So what I do is I make it 11.5, just because that's just an easier size when you do maths to work with. So 11.5, 11.5. But I've already cut it down because I just cut all my papers down, so I've already actually cut it down to 11.5. And that's what I do. I just take this little strip off the end just to make it easier when matting, just to work out the numbers when matting. So that's what I do. I just chop off that little bit at the end. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely, I can. No problemo. So there we go. So that's what I do with my papers. And I didn't cut it in half, did I? So now I've cut it down to 11.5, which means that to get the half, it's 5 3/4. So, and that's the reason why I take the strip off. Otherwise, you're just playing with little parts of inches. And I work in inches, and I apologise for that. I'm old school, and I'm not quite into centimetres. So yesterday I showed you just how simple it is to score your paper in half just by folding it in half. But I actually do like to score it because it makes a neater edge. Hi Debbie. So as I say, I like to score it. So my paper is 8 1/4 wide. As I said, this is different sizes wherever you go. So I'm going to score mine in half, which is 4 1/8. Well, it would be if you get it on the right thing. So that's 4 1/8. And it just produces a nicer edge for you. That's why I do that. So I've got 2 card bases. As I say, I'm going to work 2 different cards, and then what I'm going to do is to show you different ways to alter the card. So it's still the same sort of design, but you'll actually have different ideas to do with the card as well. So I'm going to work on this one first, which is a really simple design. So I need 2 mats. I need a white and a yellow one. And because I've already cut down my cardstock for the length, I've already cut down my cardstock in the length to make it easier to work out the mat size. So the mat size for this is 5.5 by 3 7/8. So 5.5 by 3 7/8 on the yellow. So we're doing 5.5. By 3 7/8, which is just that big one under the 4. So that's your first mat there. Then we're going to do a white mat as well. Which will be in width 3 5/8, So what you're doing is you're going down by 1/4 of an inch each time with your layers, with your matting, and then that'll be 5 1/4. Hey, you're welcome, Sandy. It's actually nice to challenge myself to come up with something that you can mass produce quickly and easily. So, you know, it's not going to be a difficult design. So that's that mat there. I've made these strips 1/2 inch. Yeah, 1/2 inch strips. And this strip here as well is 1/2 inch. So we'll do that. So we're just going to cut 1/2 inch strips. You can do this now with scraps of paper that you have. Ooh, did I do that 1/2 inch or 1/4? I'm not sure I did that 1/2. So you can use any scraps of paper, design paper you have. This is the joy of this one, it's the joy of this card here, is that you can use up scraps of paper that you have to make the strips. So it's a useful card design to have. I did have. Okay, so 1/2 inch strips. I'm not going to be quite as normally I'm quite frugal with my crafting, and because it costs so much over here, so you can't afford to waste. But on this one, I am just going to, for speed, I'm just going to pop things on, and we'll go a little bit faster that way. So I'll show you the designs of the card first, how you make them, and then we'll switch them up a little bit, because they are quick cards to make. Got cat hair there. Make sure when you're making a card you don't have cat hair around. Cat must have been on the mat after I set up. Naughty cat. This cardstock that I have is a linen one, and if you try and stamp on the knobbly side, you don't get a very good impression. So I've got to make sure that when I stamp on the smoother side. Normally I use smooth cardstock, but I picked up the wrong one, which is annoying. Picked up the wrong one, and so I've had the linen type. So you just got to work with what you got. Easier if I just take that one off. So I'm just going to pop the Get Well Soon there on the block. I'm just going to use my Versamark ink. I like this one because it's nice and black and juicy. And I'm just going to stamp out Get Well Soon. Just going to try and center it into the middle of the strip. What I'm going to do is pop this one onto there first. I used to find my hair all over the place when I had really long hair. It's real pain, but now it's shorter, it's not so bad. So I'm just going to put the first mat down. making sure that I've got the opening on the right side. Actually, it'll be on the left side for me. And then I'm just going to center this as best I can. And then we'll work on the white cardstock now. What I do is I'm going to actually pop this one down first. Yeah, that used to happen to me when I had long hair too, but not anymore. Okay, I'm going to be working in the bottom third of this one. And I'm just going to leave a little gap in between the papers. So just and try to get it even. You could work on your grid, obviously, and work out there, but I'm not going to, because I'm just trying to make this easy as possible. If I was really clever, I would be able to work this the other way up for you to see, but I'm not that clever, so I can't do it. And all I'm going to do is snip off the edges here. Like that. And I'm just going to put the tape on, and then we'll just pop it on the matted layer there. As I say, I tried to design them a little bit simple and easy so that they're easy to mass produce, like I did for Eileen yesterday. What they say, you lose 100 hairs a day or something. It's the natural shedding of the hair, something like that anyway. Okay, so that's the first card there, and as you can imagine, you can darken it up for a mail card, and you can do things like add a little bit more if you wanted to. Say something like that, just a little motif on there, a brad, or just anything like that, just to jazz it up a little bit. So you can do that. You can also use, obviously, your border strips on there as well. You can imagine it like that. If you've got lots of border strips around, that you can do that too. So that's the first one, just nice and simple, and I'll just show you a different way to do that after we've done the other card. So we're on to this one now. Yeah, thanks. With that other one, I'll show you a different way to do that one as well. It's and it will be a one layer card, which is quite easy, really super quick, and I'll do that after I've done this one. So what I'm going to do now is cut the mats for this card here. We've already cut the base, so we'll cut the mats for it now. This is the one I'm thinking is a bit more male, but you can make the other one a male card as well. So the first mat that I'm going to cut this is 5 3/4 by 4 1/8, and so this mat here, craft mat, I have to tell myself all the time, otherwise I'll forget. This one will be 4 1/8. No, sorry, 3 7/8. See, look, I have to talk it through all the time. Three and 7/8 by 5 1/2. Yeah. So that's the first mat. I love it when you put something down and you can't find it again, even though it's just right by the side of you. Got to make sure I don't put the stuff on my keyboard, otherwise I'll be flicking myself off the screen. So yeah, so we're going to use the planked wood look. Although in this paper there's denim, which would be a good look too, for a male card. But I'm going for the planked wood look because I quite like this one actually. It's a nice design paper there. So we'll cut the mat first. And this is 5 1/4 by 3 5/8. I want the planks to go that way, so I've got to do this as the width. 3 5/8. 3 5/8. When you've got a pattern, a directional pattern on the card, you've really got to think about what you're doing. And then that one is 5 1/4. Now you can distress the edges if you want. You can do a corner punch on there just to take the corners, but I'm just going to leave it just nice and plain. Less frilly bits on the cards the better when you're mass producing, and also males don't like too many frilly bits either, do they? I've done this on white cardstock because I've only got white, black or craft. And I haven't got much craft left, and that's why I chose the craft to do the matting with, because I need to buy some more. Not ready to buy it yet. I've left this, I didn't go the blue, which would go well as well, because I wanted it to be neutral, you know, a little bit more neutral. I think it's a little bit more classy when you go neutral colours with males, then your embellishments can add that pop of colour. That's just me. So again, I am going to put the mat on first and towards me, just because I find it easier. Make sure you have the fold on the right side, that your hands are nice and clean and your work surface is clean. And And that card wasn't quite straight, so I'm just going to get another card base. I must have done that really, really quickly. Because it wasn't a straight card. I'll certainly sort that out for later. So again, make sure that your fold is on the right side. That was my OCD calling me, by the way. See, look, Aristi, even though I like to use my school board, you don't actually need it unless you're marking out specifically measurements on there. Just for folding things in half, you don't need it. Okay. So I'm going to cut. I know what size I need because, of course, I did the practice one. So I know what size I'm using. So there you go. Number 3 on these small and large circles. Or they're standard. Standard large. Standard circles large. So there you go. Small and large circles. Number 3 is what I'm using. Not that you need to know that. It's just what I'm using. Now you don't need to use circles. You could go, of course, obviously with squares if you were doing that. If you don't have the if you don't have these die cuts. So the larger one is going to be in the craft. Don't have enough there. And the smaller one is going to be in the white. And because my mat is so scraped up because I do lots of cutting, you've got to make sure that on the side that you want to use, you don't have that facing up, because you will make lots of little marks in it. The little marks that are in your cutting pads will show on your die cuts. So just a little tip. Cutting plates. I said pads, didn't I? I meant plates. Cutting plates. If I can get it to focus properly, I'll show you what I mean. Okay, I don't know whether it will focus on it, but on this side, there's all the little imprints of my die cut plates, and also whatever I was cutting before, which was black. The little bits stick into the cardstock as well. So you just got to think about which plate you have on top also. So here it is that. And I just got to look at some papers to see what I'm going to use for the banners. That was my crocodile just fell down, and it fell onto the keyboard, and now I have something on there. Ooh. There, gone. Ew. That did shock me a little bit. I used this from scraps and it worked out to be the perfect size. So let's see what size they actually were. It's 1 3/4 by 1.5. That was fortunate, wasn't it? Will I be lucky this time? One and a half. That looks better together, doesn't it? Dotty. I like the dotty. So I'm going with the same size that I had those at, 1 3/4. It's okay, I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it. Okay, so to make my banner, I'm going to try and do a shallow banner. So you just cut a shallow cut. Like so. Okay. Just going to decide what length I want them actually. So I'm just doing what I think looks pleasing to my eye. No length on that one. Yeah, my Big Shot is a couple of years old. That was the colour I think they brought out that year, which is nice. Sorry, just going to slurp my tea because I can feel my voice going. See that? Put it behind me instead of leaving it by the side of me. Okay, let's have a little look at this baby. So I'm just looking at the placement, and again, it's just what is pleasing to your eye. There's no right and wrong with this. I am just going to center the two banners up though. So I'm going to do again, sending well wishes. With my Versamark ink. If you're mass producing these as well, you can actually just put the words all together on the block once you've got them out once, and then you don't have to separate it, you know, do it each one separately. Just got to make sure I've got clean hands now. Of course, when you're doing mass producing, do all your stamping at the same time. You know, cut all your things you're going to cut. And then if you're distressing the edges or anything, do that all at the same time. Do all your stamping at the same time. Then make sure your hands are clean. Then you put your card together. Because it is so easy to get little dirty marks everywhere when you do it. So that's what I do when I'm mass producing cards, is make all the bits first and then put the card together after. So we're just going to center this up on the little mat. And I did pop this one up on a little bit of foam tape, which you can do as well. Don't have to, just adds a little bit more interest. And if you saw here, I actually didn't put it all down on there. It just gives a little bit more dimension and a little bit of more interest on the card rather than just having it all flat to the surface. And there we go, there's the card there as well. My OCD tells me that I should actually go in and cut that. Look at that, OCD. Yeah, it's a little bit too sharp an angle. Yeah, it's better. Yeah. Look, it's now uneven, but hey. I fiddle. I'm awful. So there we go, that's the cards there. To there. Now I just wanted to show you a variation to the first card I showed you, which would make it a one-layer card. Once I get my hands clean. So we'll pop that to the side. We'll bring this one back and I'm going to turn it into a one-layer card for you. So bear in mind this is the sort of design I'm going for. So I have my card stock and I had it so what I'm going to do is I'm going to score it in half. I will have to come this way because I need to see. I need to see 4 1/8. This is a little bit more tricky. And I've lost my little black line in the middle there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to score. Maybe I should have waited for it to dry. Yeah, that's going to be okay. So I'm going to score this, and what I'm going to do is, trying to keep it all level, I'm going to score it at every 1/4 of an inch until I go all the way down. This is then your 1 layer card, but what you need to do is to get your lines straight and not do what I just did then. I did have to stand up over that to see it, because of the way the light's reflecting. So I'm just moving these scores up every 1/4 of an inch, scoring down. Yeah, this is the Martha Stewart scoreboard. So I don't know whether you can see that. It's now scored all that corner there. So instead of having the strips of paper there, you've now got, doesn't show it very well on there. Can you actually see it? I don't know whether you can actually see it, but there's score lines all the way down there. And simply what you're going to do then is get your Get Well Soon stamp, or any stamp of your choice. And you're going to stamp it up, and with shaky hands, you are going to just above the top score line, you're going to stamp Get Well Soon. Because you can't see the score lines very well on the board unless you mark them all. So the black line shows me where I've got to do the score. It's really, really difficult to see. And there you go, you really can't get a lot simpler than that. It's just that you can't really see it on here, can you? Can you see it? If I shade that. There you go, that's a really simple card there. Right. So that's my Get Well Soon cards, as simply as I could to make it easy to mass produce. So say with this you can, put little bits of bling on it and that, and also on this one as well, you could do that as well. It's a real classic, card. Hi, Trina. Any questions? I could do this this one again using the mixed media borders. Thank you, Debbie. Right then, if there are no questions, it'll be time to go. Okay, then I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going live on International Crafters YouTube channel. Thanks, Aristi. Shame you can't really see that one very well on screen, but it's quite classy. So there you go. I'll see you tomorrow on International Crafters. Bye. Thanks for joining me. You're welcome, Sandy. It's a pleasure doing it for you. Hope you raise lots of money. Okay, then see you tomorrow if you're joining us on International Crafters YouTube channel with me and Eileen McInnes. And we're going to have lots of fun, hopefully. As long as Eileen's awake, she's working really hard. Bye. Bye, everyone. See you again.